Hi, some thoughts for today, the first Sunday after Trinity. Poor Jesus, today he is between a rock and a hard place. His own family think he is completely bonkers, lost the plot, totally out of his mind. The scribes also think he is completely bonkers and out of his mind. Two groups of people, his family on one hand, the scribes on the other, think that Jesus needs sorting out. Both groups have come to try and put him right. His own family are concerned primarily that he's not eating properly. So this is probably the last straw. Enough is enough. He needs to come home. When as a young curate in the London diocese and living on my own, there was one question I dreaded when my mum rang me. What have you had to eat today? She always seemed to ring on a hectic day when I had not eaten properly. I'd then be subject to a full-blown lecture inspired by her love and concern for me. So it is for Jesus. His family are worried about him and are probably concerned that this ragtag collection of people he's gathered around him are stopping him from taking in proper nourishment and looking after himself. Then along come the scribes. They're angry at what Jesus is taking out of people, their demons which are possessing them and preventing them from being who they should and could be. He is not taking in, complained the family. Never mind that, say the scribes. It's what he is taking out of people is the issue here, between a rock and a hard place. For the family, Jesus is a major cause for concern. At some time, Jesus left his hometown of Nazareth, which in his day would have had a population of around 150. It was a hamlet which belongs to the larger town of Jaffa, about a mile away in the hills of Galilee. Obviously, everyone would have known everyone else, and Joseph, as the local carpenter, would have been especially well known. However, Jesus had left all that behind. He left a flourishing business and so put his security at risk. Also, he'd put his own well-being at risk. Life is suddenly no longer safe. Jesus now seems utterly indifferent to the verdict of the world around him. What will the neighbours say? The question does not seem to bother Jesus. H.G. Wells commented, "The voice of their neighbour is louder than the voice of God." These words may be true for some, but certainly not for Jesus. Then the family say, what sort of people has he gathered around him, for goodness sake? Ever since he went off to the wilderness and spent time with that John by the Jordan, he's completely unrecognisable. We just do not know him anymore. He's come back with all this fancy teaching and a power we just do not understand. Come on, he's Mary's son, a carpenter. He needs just to come home and stop being ridiculous. We almost need to arrest him and bring him home. The family and people from Nazareth just do not recognise this person. They are concerned that the guys with him, the Galilean fisherman, the tax gatherer, the fanatical zealot, some rather hot-headed individuals, are not going to do their son any favours. They might even lead him astray. This group and what Jesus is saying and doing have set him on a serious collision course with authority. They are worried. Now his family are at the door of this crowded house in Capernaum. They want him to come home, back to the carpenter's shop, where it is much easier to talk about broken chairs than broken lives. Then comes a statement that must have been hard for them to hear. Whoever does the will of God is my brother and sister and mother. This may have been a painful few words for Jesus' immediate family, but for the organisers of the early church, it was most helpful. After Jesus had gone from them and his followers began to grow in confidence, a dispute arose as to who should have the leading role in this new movement. Should it be the family of Jesus, or should authority lie with the disciples of Jesus? Which was it to be? That same kind of dispute was to occur within Islam. Who was Muhammad's true heir? a dispute arose, resulting in a split between his family and his disciples. Hence we have the Sunni and the Shiite Muslims. Amidst the crowd of people and criticism, Jesus says quite directly and simply that whoever does the will of God is my brother and sister and mother. That now, if we do God's will, live in his love, travel in his way, then we become his family. It's not about power or status or building empires. It's about living in the love of God. We are family together. And yes, there'll be disputes, but at the same time, we, God in Jesus' precious family. Jesus says to us, you are family. Be my brother, sister, mother. I want you to be one with me, my family. Travel safe, pilgrim.